Heidi ho, friends. It is Monday. It is the beginning of week 4, Monday, January 23rd. So, got some things I need to tell you, but before I get into all of that, I got 2 chicken breasts here in a very small casserole dish. I just salt, peppered, oreganoed, garlic powder, and a drizzle of olive oil on them. I'm gonna cover this with foil. My oven is preheated at 375, and I'm just gonna cook these chicken breasts very quickly before I get into everything else. Okay, I set the timer for 30 minutes. I just need the chicken breasts cooked. That's a step you can easily skip if you buy like a rotisserie chicken and just kind of peel off the cooked meat, or if you've already have some chicken breasts cooked somewhere. Or you can boil the chicken. I prefer roasting it with the herbs and the salt, pepper, and olive oil. I just think it gives it better texture, better flavor. All right, back up, rewind. Today's Monday. I didn't film yesterday because we failed. We failed the challenge yesterday. So, oh, 1 second, the dog needs to go out. Okay, so the last video that we ended with on Friday was just leftover night, and then Saturday we went out to dinner. It was a planned dinner, and it was amazing. The food was wonderful. The people we were with were wonderful. Everything was just a really nice evening. And so then, and our kids were at a babysitter, or my sister-in-law's, right? I think I talked about that too. And so we went and picked them up yesterday morning, and then we just hung out. We hung out with family and just kind of enjoyed that time. But by the time we left, our children were hungry. My husband was hungry. I was hungry too, but I was willing to wait. They were not willing. And, you know, you have to, in these moments, you have to like, am I striving for perfection within this challenge? Or am I striving for a happy family and quality time? I think we know that answer. So the quality family time went out, and we went for sushi. We went and had sushi yesterday. It was like a really late lunch, early dinner, and that's all we ate. But it was fun. And so if you follow on Instagram, I even posted a picture of our sushi dinner, and I'll see if I can get it here. But it was nice. I hadn't had sushi and I can't even remember how long, and we all love it. So yeah, we spent money yesterday. It was like $120 with tip. My husband and I split it, but we each spent like 55 or 60 bucks, I think, total. So, fail. But it is what it is, and we're gonna start back up today. So today's Monday, and I had, you know, my whole menu's planned out. I've had everything planned out for a while, as I've mentioned also. Tonight was chicken cordon bleu, so I had taken those chicken breasts out yesterday, and I had some leftover ham that I had cooked from last week. I had it in the freezer. I took that out of the freezer because I was gonna make chicken cordon bleu. Never made it, thought it'd be great. A good use of that ham. And honestly, it's like 1:30 in the afternoon here. I'm just taking a break from work quick. I don't have time to do all this because Mondays are our busy nights. And I was gonna do like a risotto, a Parmesan risotto with it, and some roasted delicata squash. And oh, that sounds lovely. But it just ain't happening tonight. It's just not possible. So pivot to what we are going to do. So I needed something easy for tonight, but also really delicious. I am making a chicken casserole, and this is a casserole that my mom used to make when I was little. And Marley has a squeaky toy, so you might hear that really obnoxious high-pitched squeak. Sorry about that. Yep, there he goes. He's got it now. It's a chicken casserole that involves sour cream. I think she's sometimes, oh, and then like a cream of celery or cream of mushroom soup. A little extra, I love mushrooms, so we put like a little extra can of mushrooms in. I'm gonna add some chopped onion. I took some frozen broccoli out of the freezer to thaw because I'm gonna add broccoli into it. So it's like a really creamy chicken casserole with the chicken, the broccoli, the mushrooms, and then you top it, just wait, with stovetop stuffing, okay? It was out of this world. It's delicious. It's still one of my favorite casseroles. But y'all know how I feel about processed foods. And stovetop is no exception. As much as I might have loved it all of those years and still would, you know, enjoy that flavor, it's just not worth it for me. So we're gonna kind of like try to make it a little bit. I don't have any bread right now. All of our bread's been eaten. I do have a couple of pieces that I had chopped up a couple of days ago into some croutons, but just didn't flavor them. So I'm going to try to use that. I do have a bunch of breadcrumbs. I made breadcrumbs. So I may just top it with breadcrumbs and butter. But that is what we're going to make, is we're just going to do like a little kind of a take on this casserole that I've always loved. So with that, you normally need like a can of cream of mushroom, cream of celery soup. And I don't buy that either because, yeah, if you ever look at the ingredients, it's highly processed. Not something that I really want in my kitchen, my food. So we are going to make our own cream of soup. And it's basically with chicken stock. I have a pint of homemade chicken stock. We're going to start with butter and flour. We're going to make a roux. And then we're going to, you know, if you've ever made a roux, it's butter melted, and then you gradually add flour, whisk it in till it's all absorbed and thick. And then you slowly add your liquid. If this wasn't being filmed, nobody would believe me that he does all this during the day. But our liquid is going to be the chicken stock and some milk, and to kind of get it that thicker, creamier mixture. And that's what I'm going to use in place of a cream of chicken, celery, mushroom soup. So that's why I cooked the chicken first. I just wanted to get that in. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and chop an onion, celery, mix up the sour cream, get my cream of mixture going. All right, we're gonna start the process of making our roux. Now, making a roux, if you've never done this before, you're gonna wanna learn. It is extremely useful as far as having that kitchen culinary skill. So all I do, and I don't really necessarily measure too much, but I just put about maybe 2 tablespoons butter in. I'm gonna get that all melted, and then I'll add in some all-purpose flour. All right, I'm gonna add in about 1/8 of a cup of all-purpose flour, and you wanna whisk it. You basically want all of that butter absorbed into the flour. And it's gonna be clumpy, but you won't see any liquid left. So it's at this point that you're going to start adding in the other liquid, which I'm going to do. I'm going to alternate with chicken stock and milk. Now I have my burner on a medium heat. Just need to open my stock here. And I'm just going to add a little bit at a time. You only want to add enough to know that you can fully whisk it and incorporate it again. If I were to add, you know, a cup's worth, it may not pan out correctly, right? So the slower you add it, the thicker your mixture gets. And you can see it's now kind of gummy, like all of the liquid is absorbed again. I'm going to alternate with my milk and stock. And you just kind of keep this process going until you have the desired amount that you need. So for this instance, for my casserole, right, I am gonna probably want about a cup, maybe 2 cups. I'm thinking you normally would add about a can, so maybe 2 cups worth. The trick is to consistently whisk it and not let it sit. All right, and that's thicker, so I'm gonna add more chicken stock. I've got some herbs in my stock, so you might see some spots here. The more liquid you have in here, right, the longer it's going to take. It didn't take long in the beginning for those first couple iterations to thicken up. But the more liquid you have, it just takes a bit longer. But at this point, you would not necessarily ever add more flour in, right? It's the flour and butter in the very beginning that helps thicken all of the other liquids up. So you wouldn't actually add any more of that in at this point. Once you're done with your flour and butter in the beginning, it's all about whisking and slowly adding the other liquids. Okay, I'm actually, in the next iteration, going to add chicken stock again because this is all the milk I have left, and I don't want to use it all right now. So it's getting thicker. This will probably be the last amount of liquid I add. And it's going to be the chicken stock. You really do need to keep it moving. I'm going to add in some salt and pepper. Okay, I'm going to turn the burner off. This took me maybe 5 minutes, not long at all. I'm going to take this off, put it over on the counter, and just let it cool a bit. Because we're going to be mixing this in with the sour cream and the other items, I just don't want the sour cream to curdle, and this is really hot. So we're just going to let this cool a little bit. Okay, so we've got our cream of soup cooling down. The chicken is still in the oven. It's only got a few minutes left. The other items are chopped in our big bowl. I've got my sour cream here ready. The next thing I want to do is just get my topping together. So if you're familiar with stovetop, it's basically really tiny pieces of bread with a lot of salt and seasoning. And then you mix it in a bowl, usually with either water or chicken stock, melted butter, heat it all up, and the liquids rehydrate the bread. And the bread is, like I said, in small pieces so that it rehydrates really fast. So I'm gonna mimic that as best as I can with what I have. These are my breadcrumbs from the other day. They're hard, but they're not totally hard. So I'm gonna put that in a microwave safe bowl. I've got the rest of my stock here that I'm just gonna put in with that. And I've got my butter. I am gonna put a little bit of butter in here. Maybe about half a tablespoon. I'm not going to put any seasoning or herbs in yet. I just want to start getting this rehydrated as much as possible, and I am going to put it in the microwave to kind of help. Okay, and you can see the bread is so much softer now. Perfect. All right, I am going to go ahead and add some salt, pepper, some herbs in here. Again, I'm still going to hold off on this until we're actually ready to assemble our casserole. Once the chicken's done cooking, I'm just gonna let it cool enough for me to handle it. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna chop it into small pieces, add it to my large bowl here, and then we're gonna add in our cream mixture, our sour cream, mix it all up, put it in a 9x13, and top with our breading. First thing I'm gonna do is throw my chicken in here with everything else. Going to add in our cream. You can see how thick it is. Got a little sour cream left in this container. I'm just going to add it all in. You'll notice once again, I'm really not measuring. I'm going to mix it all together here in a minute because I just want to see, is there enough kind of liquid, or do I need to add more? You don't ever want it too soupy, but you don't want it too dry either. Okay, I opened my last sour cream here for the challenge, and I'm just gonna add maybe 1/4 cup. That's gonna go in a 350, 375 degree oven just until the sides start bubbling. You'll see the sour cream mixture kind of start bubbling around the edges. Take the foil off, let the stuffing just get a little bit crisp, and then it'll be done. I'm gonna estimate about 30 minutes because everything really is cooked, right? It's just about warming it through and getting the flavors blended and crisping up that stuffing. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit!
Welcome back, friends. Tuesday, January 24th. I am gonna get dinner started. It's gonna be another casserole tonight. And side note, that casserole I made last night, it was so good. There are no leftovers left. My entire family devoured it. And I'm the one that has the most experience with that casserole. Eating it, I should say, the most experience eating it, because my mom made it all throughout my childhood and adulthood. When I would come home, it was always my favorite, still is. And I was really wondering if not using the stovetop would make that much of a difference. But y'all, it was so good. Like, even my family, no one said a word. They just devoured it. So I'm gonna call that a win. I'm really excited that it worked out that way so I can make that again and make it healthier than it would have been otherwise. All right, so another casserole tonight. I have some organic potatoes here that I am going to put in the Instant Pot and cook to make some mashed potatoes. So I'm gonna get that going in a minute. I've got some carrots that really need to be used. I've got freeze-dried peas. I have 2 pounds of ground beef that I thawed. And let's see if you remember this one. Liver powder. And I can say that really loud because nobody's home. We are going to have shepherd's pie tonight. And I'm making this shepherd's pie kind of a Weston A. Price version, right, by adding the liver powder. So I am gonna get the meat browned. I'm gonna add in some garlic, some onions, some salt, pepper, and spices. This is gonna go into the final casserole. I am gonna put my peas just in a bowl and add some hot water or boiling water just to rehydrate them. Like I said, we're gonna make the mashed potatoes. I'll saute the carrots with the onions and garlic and beef, and then we'll just assemble a shepherd's pie casserole. Super simple, super nutritious. All right, I'm gonna start seasoning the meat. Redmond real salt, freshly cracked black pepper, dried oregano, dried thyme. This is smoked paprika powder. And this is a leek powder that I had made. I basically took the tops of the leeks, the green leeks, and dehydrated them into a powder. I'm also gonna add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. So last time when I added the liver powder to the chili, nobody noticed, not even me. And I think I only added about a tablespoon. I'm gonna go a little more bold today. Our potatoes are done. I'm gonna let them natural release though before I mash them. But we're gonna go a little bit more bold today with maybe 3 to 4 tablespoons. Okay, I did 3 only because I actually think 4 will be too much, too noticeable. So I'm just gonna mix it up with the meat here. All right, potatoes are done. I'm just using an old-fashioned masher here. You'll see I didn't even peel them. I very rarely peel my potatoes. Now, if I were submitting this dish into some type of contest, like maybe the county fair, then maybe I would consider peeling my potatoes. It's just not something I find value of my time in. And besides, as long as the peel's clean, there's some good nutrients and good fiber in there. So I keep it on. I'm just adding some butter, a lot of beautiful butter, because butter makes everything better. That's what my daughter would say. Lots of pepper, Redmond real salt. Now when you're doing this, always be aware of how much mashed potatoes you have, right? How much you made, because you don't want to pile it on so thick that then you run out. And that's it. I'm just gonna cover this up with foil. Like I said, 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. And then I'll take the foil off before we eat to hopefully brown up the top a little bit more. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Hey friends, it's Wednesday, January 25th. Let me update you on last night. I think I need to start doing that more often when I come in the next day. And last night was the shepherd's pie. It was good. Everybody ate their dinner. Nobody complained about an off taste. Now, I knew the liver was in there, so I kind of felt like I could taste it. And I put, 3 tablespoons in. I think I'd absolutely keep it at 3 or go down to 2. I would not increase it. They didn't gobble it up like they did the casserole the night before. So there's half of a pan left. I did give some to my kids for lunch today. And I smothered it in ketchup. So we'll see if they eat it. You know, when in doubt with kids, just put ketchup on it, right? But all in all, it was good. We just need to eat the rest of that. So tonight for dinner, we are going to have roasted lemon pepper chicken. Now, contrary to what I used to believe, and maybe you too, roasted chicken is not intimidating. It is not hard. It is one of the easiest meals you can make. I do this in my oven for about 2 hours. Now this is just like anywhere between a 3 to 5 pound chicken. I don't know the exact weight at the moment, but it's not a large bird. And I do it right in my cast iron Dutch oven. Now, a little tip here is, you know how you have your rack for your Instant Pot? I actually use this when I roast my chicken too, and I put this in the bottom of the Dutch oven so that the chicken doesn't have to sit in its own fat while it's cooking. I am going to use Redmond Real Salt Organic Lemon Pepper Seasoning. Guys, this stuff is so good. You can see I've already used half of it. It is so good. So it already has Redmond Real Salt, organic dehydrated lemon peel, organic black pepper, organic dehydrated garlic, organic dehydrated onion, and organic dehydrated thyme. It is delicious. I don't have to add anything else. I just put my chicken in the Dutch oven, coat it with this seasoning, put the lid on, and throw it in the oven. And I usually do between 350 and 375 for, again, anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. It comes out, because the lid is on, so delicious. It is not dry. It is fall off the bone half the time. It's so good. So y'all, I really recommend, if you have not yet tried to cook a whole bird this way, do it. And then tonight, after we're done eating, every time I make a chicken, I save whatever's left and I throw it in my Instant Pot and I make bone broth all night long. And then in the morning, I strain it through and can it or freeze it or put it in the fridge. So I'll show you that too. Along with our roasted chicken, tried and true green beans. These are the canned green beans that I did back in June of 2022. My family and I love home canned green beans. So hopefully 1 quart's gonna be enough. I might have to open a pint as well. So along with the chicken, the green beans, one more thing. This is I tried with every meal one thing to kind of get a little creative and push myself on my own limits. And this next item is it. I love rice-a-roni. Who doesn't? But it's not good for you. Shocker. It's full of preservatives, possibly MSG. I don't actually know, but it's just full of all kinds of things, right? So I'm going to kind of mimic rice-a-roni here at home. Now, rice-a-roni is rice as well as pasta. It's like, I think, orzo pasta. I don't have orzo. I'm just going to be using long grain organic. I think this is basmati, brown basmati rice. But in one of my last Azures orders of 2022, I got this mushroom soup mix. This is a dried powder mix. I haven't done anything with it yet. I am really excited to try this. So what I'm gonna do is cook my rice in home canned chicken stock, no doubt from a roasted chicken that we ate for dinner one night in September. I'm gonna put this in a pan, get it boiling, cook it like I would anything else with rice, right? Get your water boiling. But I'm gonna add some of this to the boiling water and then add my rice. And so it's going to be like a wild mushroom seasoned rice, kind of like a wild mushroom rice-a-roni. And then I have some cans of mushrooms that I'll add in as well before serving. That's my thought. We're gonna see how it works. I'm excited. Okay, so I'm gonna just get my rice mixture going here. I've got 1 pint, which is about 2 cups of chicken stock. When I cook rice, I do 1 cup of rice to 1 1/4 cup liquid. So I technically need 2.5 cups of water. So I'm just gonna get a little more water in here. It's really stuck on. Because this is a total experiment, I'm just gonna put in 1/4 cup of my mushroom soup mixture.
Marley wants to watch you. He's like, I want to be small. We should dance to the sunlight. Look at Marley. We should dance to the sunlight. Little baby, did you put time? Puppy.
I said, do you like your brother? And you said no.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
It is 9 o'clock at night. And just trying to get everything done for the night. Kitchen cleaned up, kids in bed. You ever have those days where you feel like what you're doing is like, why? Why am I doing all of this? Why am I cooking home cooked meals that are nutrient dense? Why am I baking our own bread? Why am I trying to grow food? Why? That's me these last couple of days. But we press forward. So I took all of the chicken bones, any chicken remains, as well as all of the drippings from the roast chicken, and put everything in the Instant Pot. This is what I do every time I cook a chicken. I just throw it all in here. So I've got some other things on the counter here we're gonna add in, and I'm gonna show you what I do. It's the easiest way to make bone broth. So I have half of an onion, including the skin, and I just kind of cut that into 4s, but I put it all in. The skin does add some flavor, but really it just adds great color, right? That golden color. You don't want the sticker of your onion on there. but it adds great color to your bone broth. I also have some carrots. I'm just gonna break those into some pieces. I don't bother peeling as long as they're clean. And I have some celery that was in the freezer. I often freeze celery because it is just a really great way to keep it fresh and ready for any type of bone broth. If I had a bay leaf, which I have a bay tree outside, I don't feel like going to get it, so you can add bay leaf. I'm not even going to add any salt or pepper, and the reason is because I already added that lemon pepper seasoning to the chicken in the very beginning. So there is sodium in here. I don't need to add any more. Same with the pepper. But if you had some fresh herbs, thyme, even sage, those kinds of things, parsley, add them in. Those aromatics just make it even better. The last thing I'm going to add in before the water is some apple cider vinegar. I just add about 1 to 2 tablespoons. And the thought process, I think this is true, is that it really just helps release all of the minerals in the bones. And next, and really last, is the filtered water. You want to make sure you're adding filtered or spring water, nothing with chlorine. And I really fill it all the way up until I get to that max line on the pot. Often people will say, just fill it till it's just covering all of the solids, and that works too. But I find that with the Instant Pot, since we're not doing this in a big stock pot on the stove, I don't believe that I'm actually diluting my stock, right? If I were doing this like in a 4-gallon pot, then I would probably follow that advice. Otherwise, I just go to that pressure, that liquid max within the pot. Make sure the valve is in the sealing position. Now, I like to have my bone broth go at nighttime while I'm sleeping. It just makes things easier. So I will probably delay the cooking time on this. I won't start it right now. 9 o'clock-ish. I like to have it cook for about 1.5 to 2 hours on low pressure. I don't do high pressure. 1.5 to 2 hours on low pressure makes a fantastic bone broth. So I want it to be done when I wake up and I'm ready to handle it, but I don't want it to also be really super hot. Like I want the valve to already have done its natural release. So I will probably schedule this to go around 1 or 2 a.m. And then let it natural release. And then when I come to it in the morning, I'll strain it, jar it up, and if I have time, I'll pressure can it. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy, stay well. Bye-bye.